What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon and Elijah.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Welcome back, everybody. Jonathan, how was your night in our city in Chirac last night for New Year's?
It was pretty good. Went to Wrigleyville. Been there a couple times, but never on New Year's Eve, so it was fun. It wasn't as busy as I thought it was going to be. It was solid, but not like crazy. This whole time we were expecting to pay like $100 for an Uber and have to wait for like an hour to get one. It wasn't like that. They were like $20 Ubers, and it was just no way. Like it was pretty good. Yeah, I went to this bar. The music there was it was okay. That's a big thing for me. Obviously, if I have a music podcast, I'm gonna have my opinions on the music they're playing. Start off, a lot of like EDM vibes. Not
Yeah,
rocking with that. Not rocking with that one bit. Then they brought out a band. The live band, they were solid. They weren't like playing original songs. They were playing like covers. A lot of like indie songs from like the 2000s, 2010s. Some like Mr. Brightside, some MGMT, like stuff like that. Modest Mouse. It was cool, but yeah, I like some more rap here and there. Didn't really get that, but overall, it was solid. I can't complain. The best part of the night though was the bathroom. That sounds crazy. I went downstairs. The bathroom was like downstairs in the basement of this place. I go in, there's like a bathroom attendant. He's like this probably like
yeah.
35-year-old black dude. He's like, "Hey, welcome to Piss Paradise." And they're playing rap in the bathroom. They're playing a random song. I haven't heard the song in years, and it was hitting. They're playing Plug Walk by Rich the Kid. And I was like, "Oh, this is a vibe." Like the bathroom, I would have rather spent my entire night in the bathroom than out there with that music. Like I'm sure the bathroom was playing the bangers all night. But overall, pretty solid night. How was yours?
It was really solid. It was kind of just like that EDM, just vibe music, which I was vibing with. Everybody was vibing with, but would have loved to have some rap stuff like that. Like the coolest part from the night, they had like the Fox robot for the football games.
Yeah.
They had I like legitimately like one of those in like on the dance floor,
Ooh.
like dance, and it was like doing its own dance moves and everything.
That's pretty
It was
crazy.
wild.
Those things blow my mind. I've never seen one in real life, but I would be perplexed if I saw that. Especially after a couple drinks,
Yeah,
I would be
I thought it was just like an animated thing Fox did, but no, it was like genuinely one of those. It was fucking crazy.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, overall, pretty solid night. I mean, happy new year out to everybody that's listening, of course, as well.
Hope this
2022 was, good to us. I'm hoping for an even better 2023 for the pod at least.
hope this kicks off a horrible year for all of you listening. So
Praying on your downfall. You hate to see that. I got to give one more thank you here. Thank you to everybody that tuned in to our AMP stream. We streamed for the first time on AMP. If you're not familiar with AMP, it's an app owned by Amazon where you can have a radio show essentially. You can talk, you can play music. We did our first show last Friday. We played our favorite songs from 2022, some of them, took some calls from some of you guys, and yeah, just got to talk with you guys and play some songs and just hang out. And it was a good time. Better turnout than I thought it was going to be. And we're definitely looking forward to doing another one soon.
definitely, I really enjoyed it. Like the tracks and everything. It was nice taking song requests. Felt like we're really in a radio station studio. Here in my
Mm-hmm.
apartment. So
Yep. The thing I realized the most, we talked about this off the air, was there's just so much downtime. Like when you're just playing
yeah,
those songs, like I don't know what you're supposed to do. Like we're kind of just vibing, we're just talking. But sometimes you're just sitting there, and especially because you have to stream off a phone, so I can't even like scroll on Twitter. We're just sitting there, we're just hanging out. But it's just fun. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. We'll have to do another one soon. I'm thinking we got to do like a rap throwbacks. That's kind of like
yeah.
the makeup of this podcast is like the songs that we grew up on that we love that got us into music like this. I want to go through a deep dive, especially because I feel like some people that listen to pod are a little bit younger. They might have missed some of these, so I agree. I got to go back and put everybody on.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so just stay tuned for the next one.
Mm-hmm. Go tap into the socials at Second Avenue Pod. We'll be announcing another one here shortly. But like we've been talking about, it is the beginning of the new year. So it's only right. We got to go through some of our, most anticipated albums of 2023. I mean, 2022 is a pretty big year. A lot of the big artists dropped. but there's still a lot of music coming out every year. Still a lot of big names that are, pretty likely to drop this year. So I'm excited to,
Yeah.
talk about those. But first, I think we gotta, take a look back at 2022. If you've listened to the pod for a while, you know that we gave some hot takes about what we thought was going to happen in 2022. That was right when we were starting out the pod. I think it was episode 3. Let's see how those turned out. And then come back next week and we'll come up with some more hot takes for 2023. We got to think on them a little bit. Do you remember any of your hot takes that you predicted last year?
I'm seeing. So one prediction was Travis Scott was not dropping in 2022. That was steaming hot. And then the other two that we have listed in the notes were they're freezing cold. You can't get farther off than this. We won't receive a Drake project for the first time since 2014. We received 2 Drake projects.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kanye West will have his best album since The Life of Pablo. And Donda's really grown on me since then. It's going to be hard to top Donda even. And Donda 2 is by far his worst album. So
Worse than Jesus is King, you think?
I feel like Jesus is King at least has, like a set structure with it. It's on
Okay.
streaming. I mean,
That's valid.
I'd almost give it the nod there. I feel like Jesus is King because he's kind of grown on me a little bit, but nothing too like it's not fucking a top 5 Kanye project at all. But
No, it's okay. Do you even consider Donda 2 a real album? Like, do you consider that a real release? I don't really know if
no,
I do or not.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I do.
I don't think I do, but I mean, just for the fact of just the take there. So
Hmm.
we still could be getting his best albums, Life of Pablo. So
We could be unlikely. Potentially Kanye's worst year of his career. Not potentially, probably was all around. So yeah, that was a tough take. Let's take a look at mine here. The first one I had was Kendrick will drop a track in the next 2 weeks. That did not come true. That was right around time of the Super Bowl. I was predicting that he would have a song before the Super Bowl, but now we know we didn't get a track until we got the Heart Part 5, which one of the best songs of the year. Well worth the wait, but that was a cold take. Now, Chance will drop a great album and regain the respect of his fans. That was an L. He didn't drop the album, but I do think he regained some respect. He put out some good songs, and I think he's gonna be coming anytime with that next album. So I do think he will be regaining the respect of fans pretty quickly this year. And I think he did to an extent last year, but just not with that full album. So excited to see what he can do, hopefully this year. And then my last take was Kanye and Drake will drop a track together this year. In 2022, that did not happen. Cold take. It looked like it might have been possible after, the Larry Hoover concert and all that stuff, but unfortunately it never happened. So,
I
and
think
it
we're a
probably
bit.
won't ever happen.
Yeah, I think we're a bit further off. With I texted you last night about the Circo Loco, and I mean, obviously, just a straight jab at Kanye there. So I mean, we're probably back into this Cold War. So
Hmm. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to happen. I'm hoping that we'll be a little bit closer with our hot takes next year. This year, I guess. When we're looking at them next year, I hope that our predictions about 2023 are more accurate. But yeah, like I said, come back next week and we'll give you some of those because I need a little time to think about those still.
we'll definitely have to think about those for sure. I'm just hoping we're a little bit closer, or at least for my personal self here. I hope I have some firing hot takes.
Hmm.
A year into the business now, I'm no longer a rookie.
You vet.
I'm a vet now. So
Yes, sir. All right, let's get into, I guess, the main topic of today's episode. We got to talk about the albums we're most looking forward to in 2023. How many albums do you have today that you're really looking forward to in 2023?
I chose 5.
Okay. I have like 8. Do you have them in any order or are you just
Yeah, I have mine listed in order, and I feel like these are all 100% coming out. There's reasoning for it, or facts behind it. Do you want to just give out your 3 honorable mentions, and then?
I have 3 of them. Chance the Rapper, just talked about him. I mean, Chance has to become with the project this year. If he doesn't, I mean, I don't know what he's doing anymore. I mean, he came with a couple of singles last year. They were good. We need that full project though. I think it could be coming by March. I think this could be an early year release. We'll see. The next one, The Weeknd. This is on here just as an honorable mention because it might not come this year. That's why I'm like, eh. honorable
Yeah.
mention. He dropped in 2020 with After Hours, then 2022 with Dawn FM. And so I'm hoping, maybe we get like a November release here, but I could see him pushing it until early 2024. We'll see though. He's going to be, building a lot of hype up with his show on HBO Max coming out soon. So I could see him maybe dropping. We'll see. And then my next one here is Sampha. Yeah, I put him on my list last year. I was looking forward to a Sampha album, and we never got it. I mean, I thought it could have been coming. It's been so many years since his last one. Kind of like some other people we're going to get into here later, but I think this will be the year for Sampha. I'm calling it now. So we'll see. But let's get into each of our fives, though. What's your number 5 album that you're most looking forward to this year?
Gotta give a quick shout out to Chance. Didn't make my 5, but obviously, like you said there, he had a solid few projects or a few songs he released this year or this past year. Now we're already in 2023. But moving into my top 5, I have "Don't Be Dumb" by A$AP Rocky. He's performing tracks off that at Rolling Loud, New York. So I'm pretty lit there, obviously. And then he's obviously started some of the marketing with that with the Thursday Night Football ad a couple weeks ago. So I mean, it was arguably coming out at the end of this year. So I just 100% assume it's coming out in 2023. So
Yeah, I think it's got to be coming. He's been teasing it a lot. I'm ready for it. It's on my list. I'll give my thoughts on it in a minute, but I'll start off with my number 5, Playboy Cardi. This has got to be coming. It seemed like it could have been coming on Christmas. Cardi dropped on Christmas with a whole lot of red. I thought he's going to do it again. Christmas would just be Cardi Day at that point. I mean, if you're dropping 2 albums on Christmas, that's basically your day. And that'd be kind of cool because, I mean, you have to be an artist of a certain like size and have to have a certain fan base to be able to do a Christmas drop. And I think Cardi, if he wasn't at that level with Whole Lot of Red, he's grown to be at that level now. He can drop any day. Everybody's going to listen. So yeah, definitely excited for this one whenever it does drop. It's a lot of, talk out there. Academics has been talking. I saw a quote from him where he said the sound he did last time, referring to a Whole Lot of Red, he's flipping it and doing other stuff now. He's doing something completely different. It's going to shock people again, which it definitely did when Whole Lot of Red dropped. I remember all the memes. There was people hating. There was people saying, "Oh, a whole
oh
lot
yeah,
of ass," all that. I
and
was
now
like
it's
actually kind of in on it. Like I liked it off rip for the most part. Like Vamp Anthem was my one off. I was like, "Oh, this one's hard." And that was a pretty unique song at the time. Now, stuff is kind of starting to sound a little bit more like it that releases. But yeah, at the time, that was a pretty unique sound. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do if he really does switch up a sound here, do something new. I think that's something that could be said for a lot of the people that are be on my list. I think that they do so many different things with their sounds and evolve so much between projects that I'm excited to see what they're going to do in 2023, and that's why they're on this list.
for sure. And for someone like Cardi, I mean, just from the like you were saying, how unique Whole Lot of Red was. So I mean, obviously, you could just come with a completely different sound once again, and hopefully kill it. So for my number 4 here, I got King Pusha T. I think we're gonna get two projects this year. I think we're gonna get Clips Reunion, and then obviously the Gangsta Grills mixtape is all but confirmed as well for 2023. So yeah, obviously we had a 4-year hiatus from Push with album wise between Daytona and It's Almost Dry, but I mean picked up didn't miss a beat there. So having a project again with Malice or having a DJ Drama Gangsta Grills mixtape, like what's gonna miss on those?
That's a no brainer that's going to be a hit. I mean, especially because I feel like those Gangster Girls tapes are so like essential to like the 2000s when Pusha T was like really starting to grow into his own with the Clips era. So that I feel like he's gonna just own those. Like he's gonna go crazy
Mhm.
on those. I did not put Pusha on my list. I didn't even think to put Pusha T. I'll be honest, because I kind of was focused on people that like have had a break between. But I am definitely excited for Pusha T. Like how much we love It's Almost Dry, and all his other stuff as well, obviously. So anything he does, probably going to be good. But I'll move on to my number 4 person here. I have Travis Scott. I feel like you're gonna have him higher, and I understand why you would have him higher. It's been a long time since we heard from Travis Scott since Astro World. A lot of stuff's happened, obviously, and he's been kind of quiet. I feel like he hasn't done that much. He's starting to get back into things with his appearances on, SZA's album, Metro Boomin's album. And I feel like all that is calculated. He's going to be coming sooner than we think. I feel like this is going to be a summer drop. We'll see. But you know what Travis Scott's bringing. He has some of the best produced albums. He's going to come with the crazy flows. He's going to come with the bangers. He's going to come with the energy. But that's just what we think. That's just what we've seen from Travis. I wouldn't be shocked if the Astroworld tragedy kind of changed his sound a little bit and it wasn't as, hype in your face. But then, he's put out songs that are that since the incident. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, with that, I'll say my thoughts. Obviously, he's gonna be a little bit higher on my list. So, moving on to my number 3 pick here, we got Baby Keem. Scapegoats. You said 2 years, so it's about that time. Obviously, ready for another Keem project. Coming off the Melodic Blue, I feel like he has the chance to really solidify himself as a superstar in rap.
Yeah, you know me, I love some Keem. Excited whatever we get from Keem. I mean, we got the deluxe last year, so we got some music from
Yeah,
Keem, but it's been a minute.
I feel like that's a little warm up. Yeah, it's a little
It
EP, pretty
is.
much.
It's a taste, yeah. But yeah, whatever Keem does, he's a person that I feel like his growth is unlimited. He can do anything. I feel like he could have a leap that JID had. I feel like the Melodic Blue is better than the Never Story. Even I love the Melodic Blue personally. I could see that you could say the Never Story is better, like technically or whatever, but I love the Melodic Blue. So I think he could be making that jump. I think he could be in the album of the year running. We'll see. I'll move on here to my number 3. I have ASAP Rocky here. It's been so long for Rocky. That's how all these people are. That's what I've been saying about all of them. But ASAP Rocky, I mean, he's somebody that I grew up on. ASAP Rocky. Like Long Live ASAP was coming up right when I was getting into high school. So, I was going crazy to those songs. Had Live Love ASAP as well to go back to. And then later in my high school time, got At Long Last ASAP. I loved all those projects. They were just like soundtracks to so many memories, so many just times with my friends. And then he came out with Testing. I mean, Testing was so different from anything he'd done. And I feel like based on what we've seen from him, he's going to go even more in the experimental lane. He's going to be doing stuff that we haven't heard from him before. Excited to see whatever we get from him. I mean, he's another person. He's a superstar. He could have anybody he wants on his projects. And I'm just excited. Whatever he does, I trust Rocky's vision. And
Yeah,
I feel like Testing, wasn't as loved. It was like a whole lot of red almost. Like
initially,
people were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is just kind of whatever. And now it's grown to be something that people really love.
Mm,
And it's really kind of, influence the sound in some way. So yeah, excited for whatever Rocky does this year.
for sure. Moving on to my number 2 pick here, we have The Fall Off slash It's a Boy, whatever they're going to decide to call it, by J. Cole. Man, I was just listening to the off season the other day. I was driving to Champaign or wherever, and I just listened to the whole album again. And yeah, it's off season is a very good project. You know what you're going to get with J. Cole. I mean, outside of KOD, you're going to get a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 project. So super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good project. I have very high hopes for this one. Cole, I mean, he's been just on a tear on features. I feel like at some points I'm like, I like J. Cole features, but I like J. Cole songs. And I think that's crazy to say out loud. I mean, Cole has so many great songs, but he has so many great features as well. I just really enjoy whatever Cole does.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll save it for the hot take, but J. Cole almost won an MVP just off his features this past year. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't put anything past Cole. I don't put anything past Cole. He could do.
I just
I
that
mean,
feature
he could put out a
tears.
classic. Yeah, he
Yeah,
can do whatever. I wouldn't be mad at whatever that hot take's going to be. We'll see. We'll get it out next week. I'll move on here. My next pick, number 2, Tyler the Creator. Tyler's on that 2-year gap between projects, so it's 99% he's going to drop an album this year. Tyler's somebody that has changed his style so much from what he was with early to Igor, Flower Boy even before that, but then Igor especially. That was like the biggest stylistic change in my opinion. And then back into that Gangsta Grillz rap style with Call Me If You Get Lost, my favorite project of 2021. So I'm just excited to see what he does. I feel like, he proved he could rap on Call Me If You Get
yeah,
Lost. I feel like so many people were like, oh, they didn't give him his
it's
respect.
mysterious.
Yeah, it's mysterious music. You don't hear people playing it. You heard people playing Call Me If You Get Lost. He had crazy features on that, crazy hard tracks with that Gangsta Grillz cosign. I mean, everything you want from a rapper. So I think he's really going to go back into his bag and try to prove something, try to experiment, and put out something like we've never heard before. He might come with another rap album, but I think he's going to do something crazy. I feel like he could almost go into pop with this album. He could do more R&B. There's so many different things Tyler could do, but he's also like just such a skilled producer that whatever he does is going to sound good. And I mean, that alone just makes me have high hopes and just like another person where I'd say like unlimited potential. Like Tyler could really do whatever he wants and it'll probably sound great and I'll probably love it.
Yeah, I mean, so like carrying on the theme of production, like insane production, that's just gonna always elevate the album. I got my number one choice here, Utopia by Travis Scott. So we were just talking, at the bar last night, just talking music a little bit. Me with Johnny. I was kind of, like kind of what you were, or we were talking about, like what's the sound going to be? Is it going to be, as aggressive as it was before? And we kind of talked about this interesting part from Rolling Loud Miami. He was just Travis Scott when he was up there performing with Future. He wasn't, how like I feel like more there back up the crowd. He was not doing any of that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was just yeah, I mean, he was just Travis Scott. So I think we're gonna get Travis Scott. I don't think we're gonna get something that he's not. He's had those bangers off every single project that he's released. Astroworld is almost 5 years old. That's so crazy. That's in my opinion the last classic album that's released. So I feel like we've had a few that could potentially be there. They need a couple more years though. But I would for sure give Astroworld the last classic album that has dropped.
Yeah, you said that last year. I never like gave my opinion on that. But one I will say that has dropped past that confidently is Igor. I listened to Igor today completely and I was
Mhm.
just like, oh man, this is like the best I've ever heard. So Igor is the last classic that I'll like 100% say, or at least it is one that is after Astroworld that
Yeah,
I just love.
yeah,
Um,
no,
but yeah, back to Travis. I'm ready for it. I was listening to some of Rodeo the other day. It's just so good. Like I really did love Travis for so long, but I feel like he's just been so quiet that I just like forget that sometimes. Like I just don't go back to it as much as I used to. But every time I do, I'm just reminded that Travis Scott is him, especially with production. He's just gonna come through.
for sure. And the thing is, you go back to something like Birds in the Trap, which is I feel like unanimously probably his quote unquote worst project, and that is still a phenomenal project. I mean, there's just banger on banger on banger there. It's just not quite to the level of Rodeo or Astroworld in my eyes. So I mean, just what he has put out. If we even get a Birds in the Trap, like an album just at that tier there, you're still getting a top 10 album of the year easily. So
And it's just the thing about having such a good catalog is like Birds would be so many people's best album. And to have that be your worst album, that just shows how strong your catalog is.
yeah, quote
So
unquote
I mean,
worse. Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, we'll see. I'm ready for whatever he does. I mean, the one thing I do hope for that song with Westside Gunn that's been like played at some fashion show or something. I
Yeah,
think it's
those
called Lost
snippets.
Forever and has like James Blake on it. Oh, I need that. That doesn't really sound like anything Travis has done before. So I need that on streaming. I need a full version of that. That song is crazy. Let's get into my number one person here, though. If you listen, I think you can figure it out. It's Frank Ocean. This is a person, though. You said all your people, basically 100%. Frank Ocean will never be 100%. Frank Ocean will be like 70% at most that he's going to drop. There's obviously some things that make me think it's going to come. He's performing at Coachella. It's been such a long time. I mean, those are really the only two things, I guess, that I'm like, yep, it has to be this year. Frank Ocean could just stand on the stage at Coachella and just not even play music, and people would be like losing their minds. People pay thousands of dollars for that ticket. Just see Frank Ocean in the flesh. But I hope he comes through with that new music. I hope he comes out before Coachella. I hope this drops in like March or whatever. I don't know. Do you think Frank's gonna drop this year?
It's really tough to say. And I know I said the same thing at one point about Kendrick, not necessarily the same thing, but Frank Ocean could never drop an album again easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like really easily. Like I'd say it's 60-40 shots, 60% he drops an album, 40%. Like it's that close. The margins are that close. So I mean, it's hard to say for sure. I mean, hopefully with the Coachella appearance, then what he was doing on near Christmas and everything. But we'll see. I mean, I feel like that's not that
I
hot of a
mean,
take. He could
no, it's not. Like it's almost equal odds that he would be done making music, or he's going to drop another album. If he drops more music, it's going to be one album, is going to be a couple albums. You really never know. I thought about that before. Like, what if Frank Ocean just stopped making music? Like, where does his legacy end up if he has just like, mixtape, whatever, and then just Channel Orange and Blonde? What's his legacy? I mean, he's like one of the most beloved artists of this generation, but like all time great status. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he is one of the best artists I've ever heard. And so, for that reason, he almost would get a comparison like, go basketball. It's like different, but like a D Rose, like MVP, young age, he's doing his thing, and then we just don't get as many years of that prime as we thought we'd get. But then I guess it's different because Frank's like music is timeless. You know what I mean? Like Frank's music will live forever versus a basketball player whose highlights, you've seen maybe if you're past that time. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just need this. Like, I drive myself crazy thinking about things like this, thinking about why it's going to happen, and I just need to hear it. And that's the thing. Like, I don't even know what it would sound like. That's how all these are. Frank could do anything. Frank in his rap bag, he's going to come through with the vocals, but I would love to see a little bit of rap out of Frank Ocean.
I almost like this comparison for like Andre 3000, where that where Outkast broke up, and he does features here and there, but he's never had that full like solo project. It's kind of like one of the bigger what ifs. Like, what if they kept making music? What if he took this solo career on? I mean, you could kind of fit Frank Ocean in that same category where you just had this loads of potential, and you have to respect it. Like,
that's
what
true.
He's putting out is phenomenal.
I like that comparison. And there's always like people that are saying, "Oh, 3 Stacks can't be like in the GOAT conversation because he doesn't have a solo project, whatever." And they'd be kind of same thing as Frank. Like, we talking about like legend status, like, oh, he only has 2 real albums. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
and endless,
lesser,
I give endless 3 basically, but whatever.
I think to a lesser level for sure. Like, I don't think he's on 3 Stacks level, but
no.
Yeah, like, I mean, just it's for 3 Stacks to be the GOAT versus Frank Ocean to be considered a legend. So just to clarify there with that.
I'll die on that hill whenever. But yeah,
like,
it's gonna be a good year.
You could have those naysayers, that are, oh, he didn't do enough, or we didn't get something for so long. Interesting to see though. Let's take a guess here. I mean, are you what's your vote here? Is he releasing in 2023?
Frank Ocean will drop in 2023.
All right, I'll go the opposite here. I'll take the plus odds there.
Okay.
Frank Ocean will not drop into it's it's almost a pick 'em,
I gotta be an optimist on this one. It's something that I want to happen. So it's like, it's gonna happen. You gotta manifest that sometimes. Frank Ocean's dropping. Yeah. I mean, and that's like a thing, like he hasn't dropped like singles or whatever. Frank Ocean doesn't need to drop singles. Frank Ocean could drop tomorrow. Frank Ocean drop on a Tuesday night. Everybody's gonna listen. He doesn't care about going number 1. He doesn't care about these awards, doesn't seem like, at least. He just wants to put out the music, just do his art. So I just hope we get it. Whatever. Excited to see, though. Seems like 2023 has potential to be a very good year. Last year we had so many big names drop, and there's still so many big names that are, pretty likely to drop this year, either again or, for the first time in a while. So it's going to be a very good year. We'll see. We'll see what we end up getting, what we don't get, but I am excited for the year, and that's important, I think.
I don't know if like we'll get the albums to fill in the cracks of like like the Sabas, or albums like that, Westside Boogies, that just perfect, like give it just such a great year. But this year has the star potential that I feel like last year Drake, Kendrick, can't complain there, but I mean, you're getting the other half of that, the Baby Keems, J. Cole's of the world, Travis Scott's, so Playboy Cardi's as well. So I mean, you're getting almost, I mean, you still have the same star power, I feel. So it's just going to be what everybody else does to see if, I mean, it could top 2022. So even 2022 was a phenomenal year.
Well, I think the thing with like those smaller artists is I feel like they're more likely to drop like every year, some of them at least, versus like the stars who wait a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, I think that these people are going to wait, 9 months and then drop, or whatever, 14 months and then drop. So potentially could get albums from some of those people again this year. So we'll see. I don't think Vince actually drops it like almost every year. So Vince could drop. We'll see.
Yeah.
Especially like with the show and stuff coming out. I feel like he build hype.
I'm interested to see the sound Vince takes. I mean, on the next step, if he does release one this year, obviously didn't make our list, but I feel like Ramona Park's just so much different than Staples even. So
He just didn't even really cross our mind. Like he does drop so often, but I just kind of forgot about him. I was thinking about these
yeah,
people that had a break, but no years off for Vince really. Let's move on to some news here. We got a couple points here to talk about. Not really any releases this week. You know, it's still the holiday season. Nobody's going too crazy. I know we got like a single from Red Veil. That's cool. Go check that out. But other than that, pretty light. Some news though. Blinding Lights becomes the most streamed song of all time on Spotify. Last night, big New Year's Eve W for the Weeknd.
it kind of crazy, you know, just out of nowhere, really. Well, obviously not out of nowhere. You know, that's been accumulating over the past couple of years, but I just wasn't expecting it. I guess.
I wasn't either. I didn't realize it was as big as it really is. I mean,
Yeah, like that's obviously the Super Bowl probably did like crazy things for that, just with how good his performance was there as well. So
he's just a star. It's crazy. I was in Chicago the day like we were talking about, and we were listening to the radio, and they were playing "Die for You," and I was like, "That's crazy! I've never heard "Die for You" on the radio." That's a song that came out in 2016. Like, it just had that resurgence from TikTok. It's been crazy. I've never heard it on like local radio. I don't really listen to radio like that, I guess, but
yeah,
it was crazy to hear. They went from like "In Your Eyes" and some like after hour songs, and then a little bit later they played "Die for You." I was like, "All right, W for the Weeknd." He's
yeah.
him.
I mean, obviously he's gonna have timeless music there. So
Next news here. Another person that we could have included here in some of the albums we were looking forward to this year, Westside Gunn. You know, he's talking about all the projects he's going to have coming out this year, but he's also saying that, you know, this is going to be his last year. He's going to be retiring in 2023.
I'm calling Cap.
You're calling Cap. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty. I'd like say it's more likely he doesn't retire. I feel like I'm just calling. It just has Cap behind. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
okay. No, I feel that. And I think the tough thing is like, what is retiring in a career where you can just come back? You know what I mean? It's not like you're really done. Like in sports, you kind of give up your spot, you know what I mean? But in music, like you could just do something on your own whenever you want. So yeah, I mean, he might take a break. We'll see. He might be done forever. We'll see. Maybe that's a hot take next week. We'll get into that
yeah,
though.
we'll see.
And then the last news here, President Barack Obama came out with his favorite songs of 2022. They included songs from Ari Lennox, Kendrick Lamar, Sir, Steve Lacy, SZA, Omar Apollo, Black Thought, and Danger Mouse, featuring MF Doom. Obama got taste. If I've learned one thing over the years, Obama's got taste. I just hope it's really him put these lists together. I find it, you know, kind of crazy that Obama's sitting there listening to MF Doom, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he just has that really good broad range too. So, shout out Ari Lennox. That was my immediate reaction whenever you had sent that to me. So huge W there.
Yeah, a lot of different songs there too. There was like Maggie Rogers on there, I think. It was just pretty cool.
He's
I'm
got
excited.
really good variety with that usually. So
definitely interesting to see. Love getting his list. Same thing with like Tyler. Tyler drops his favorite songs of the year at the end of the year, and he has so many different types of songs. His list is definitely always cool to see. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for the first episode of 2023. Almost coming up on a year of the podcast. Almost coming up to episode 50. So big things coming ahead for the pod, but as always, we'll be back next Monday with another banger.
For sure. And so we got 2 episodes till episode 50. We haven't even discussed this yet. This is just me announcing it right here. Ox battles round 5 now. We'll see who takes that 3-2 lead. Huge game here. Huge game. So we'll see what happens.
Let's get it. You heard it here first, but we got a couple episodes before then, so we'll see you guys next week. Peace.